Hello, my name is Minaz and this is KHARSHY. This is his TV, Bluesfantv. How are you?
I'm alright, mate. And you?
I'm alright, sir. I'm alright, sir. How are you on this fine, cold, snowy evening in Hull?
Absolutely freezing, man. But, at the end of the day, happy with the win, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, honestly, I want to say something. If you are a football fan and you think Chelsea have travelled down to Hull City and win 4-0 is a joke, I don't think you're a proper fan. This season we've seen the likes of Crystal Palace crumbling down in the face of Macclesfield, United crumbling down in the face of Grimsby. For Chelsea FC to come down to Hull City up north, 4-0. Big shout out to Liam Rossini. Big shout out to the boys that pulled up the goals today. I mean, I can't just, express myself enough, because when you look at, FA Cup, Carling Cup, people always think, oh, you're going up there just to play a small team. But at the end of the day, things might turn around. Things might turn into, what you don't expect. And that's what happened, against...
At the end of the day, though, we are thankful for Alejandro Garnacho starting on the left wing.
Yeah, thank you.
Argentinian stinks of piss.
Yeah. So, because at the end of the day, you can come to this stadium and get knocked out, bro, and get knocked out. So, in my own opinion, 4-0 at Hull City is a big result for us, especially coming down from that shocking result from Leeds, And the most entertaining part of this game is the lineup. I've always said it on this channel. There's no way I can analyze a game without talking about the lineup, because everything comes from the lineup. It depends on what you put out there. It's what you're going to get. So, in my own prediction, XI, I don't even think Caicedo, Santos are going to come into the game. But when I saw the lineup, I was so happy. Then it shows this guy is coming in for the game. He wants to win the game. Even when you look at so much of things that is attached to him with Hull City, a lot of emotion. Said it in his conference. I think his grandma lives in Hull. He's got the season ticket. A lot of things. So when you look at the way we won the game, the first half performance might not be up to expectation. And that's one of the biggest things we've got this season. We can't be good for 90 minutes. That's just the problem that I think we've got this season. We can't be, good from first minute to 90 minutes, which means we either be good in the first half and be poor in the second half, or we'd rather be poor in the first half and be good in the second half. And that's what happened today. We were so poor until 30-something minutes before we get that goal. And second half was absolutely buzzing. Against Leeds, we had a very good first half, but a poor second half. Against West Ham, poor first half, very good second half. And that's what I think we need to work on to. But this win today means a lot, to me personally, because I feel like, what if we come down here and crumble? What if we come down here? And that's why I'm shaking, bro. I'm shaking in the first 30 minutes, especially when you see that Delap has just missed an opportunity to score. Estival has missed opportunity to score as well. I'm nervous, because at the end of the day, if you don't punish these guys as early as possible, things might turn around in the second half. And that's what happened to United when they crumbled to Grimsby. Same thing as Crystal Palace. So when you're playing a game like this, you need to kill the game as early as possible. But big shout out to the performance coming into the second half. We were so strong. And there's another thing that I feel like is not really working right, to be honest. I think Rossini needs to look into Santos and Caicedo. I don't know what's going on. The pivot of these two guys looks too much of defensive to me. I don't know. It's trying to make sure Santos is, prime. We know Santos is a very good guy, very defensive, and very hardworking. But if you can notice, Caicedo has been a little bit calm since he's been pivoting with Santos. We've not been seeing those clear, tackles, moving ball forward and all these things. I feel like it felt a little bit relaxed having Santos pivoting him in the CDM. I think we need to look into that, because first half there's not too much of flows in the opposite box. There's not enough flows. But immediately Caicedo went off, Enzo Fernandez came in. There's a lot of ball coming in, and that's why we scored 3 goals. So I don't know. Maybe we just need to look into this. It's not really, it's not really something that is really working out for us at the moment. We need to see if probably we'll be starting Caicedo and maybe Santos will be coming in, or something, I don't know. But big performance, big result for us. And of course, we are into the next round of the game.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned obviously the Leeds United game and obviously the disappointment after looking very comfortable for maybe 70-80% of the game, but literally 2 mistakes and obviously disaster strikes. So, like you mentioned, it's the FA Cup, it's at Hull's home ground, potential for slip-ups and FA Cup upsets. What do you think that Liam Rosenior has done differently in this game compared to, say, Leeds, where we looked like we had it in the bag but then threw it away, whereas compared to this Hull City game, it looks like he had control pretty much from minute one. What do you think he's done differently?
Like 100%, people expect us to dominate this game. Of course, we're playing a championship side, which, you know, you are definitely expected to dominate this game. But like I said earlier, go in with a strong team. As a manager, as a young manager that wants to progress in Chelsea, you have to go into every game like a final. You know, that's my advice from Liam Rosenior. You've got to go into games like a final because this is your own legacy. You're building something at Chelsea. You're building a CV. So you've got to go into games with a very good lineup. You know.
Sorry.
The more we've expected him to go into this game with the young boys, I was even predicting him to use, you know, Reggie Walsh and Santos in the midfield. You know, but obviously he came with Fofana in the back. Fofana was not even in my lineup. So I think what he did today is realizing that every game is so much important. It doesn't matter if we're playing All City or we're playing League One. You've got to go into that game and win. You've got to win what is in front of you before you start thinking of the next one. It is very, very crucial. You know, like I said, United has played. I don't like talking about other team, but United has played 4-5 games with the same squad, and they've been getting results. Go into game with your squad, win the game. In fact, you can win the game in 20 minutes and start pulling up the young boys. Easy.
Absolutely.
But when you start, you know, too much of, you know, rotation, it doesn't work. We all know it doesn't work. You've got to, you know, you've got to have your 4 key defenders playing week in, week out. They know each other very well. They can, you know, they can defend each other. We saw the combination of Chaluba and Fofana. We know that something is cooking up from there. If you have these guys playing, you know, 10, 15 games together, I'm telling you, they're going to be solid. But when you start rotating too much, you know, if a player has an injury, quite acceptable, you can bring someone in. But without injury, let's take every game like a final. You know, and like I said earlier, with the question that you've asked, Liam Rosenior needs to work on how Chelsea will be as good from the first minute into 90 minutes. We can't be switching on and off. We can't be having a good first half and a bad second half. And that's what killed us against Leeds. You know, 2-0 up, solid result against the Premier League side. Second half, all head up. You know, we considered a very silly penalty. That's when we were supposed to wake up. Because when you're 2-0 up, you concede 1. To me, it's just like a draw. Because they can score you at any time. They're definitely going to come after you. So that moment, I think that's where the managerial tactics needs to come in. How do you manage the game? How do you make sure that the game will remain the same until probably get, you know, a goal? So overall, I think the management of the lineup needs to come in. And of course, how do we win game from first minute to 90 minutes?
It's an important point that you brought up, actually, in regards to, say, Santos and our defence and this chopping and changing of our team line. And obviously, we were very unlucky at the start of the season when we lost Levi Colwill.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like last season he was a real rock, and he basically turned from a boy to a man last season. Yeah. So it's very unlucky to not have him this season. But this whole chop and change between the defence and midfield line, and then on top of it, like you say, with Santos, you're not quite sure how it's going to work playing in that little pivot. But at the same time, obviously, Santos has worked very closely with Liam Rosenior in his Strasbourg days.
100%, yeah.
So what do you think Rosenior needs to do, especially with the backline, because we are horrendous at defending? What can he do to make the defensive line solid, and how can he let Santos express himself like he did at Strasbourg?
Yeah, defensive-wise, play the strongest defense that you've got. As much as they are available, play them. Tonight, we all know we don't have Cucurella. We are so comfortable with Ato. We know now is his time to prove himself. But don't have Cucurella available and risking Hato. You know, like I said tonight, I was in the match preview yesterday. I was saying that the most ridiculous thing today is to have Badiashile and Hato together. I've watched so many games when these two guys are playing. There's nothing come out of it apart from conceding stupid goals. Don't use two of them. Don't let them come close to each other. If you're using Ato, please put Badiashile on the bench. If you're using Badiashile, please look for someone else to play as a left back. So all these things are what the manager needs to, put in place. Study your defenders, who are really, really working together. In this situation, you can easily, get something out of it. Know more about your players. Then that's easy. That's easy decision to make. This cannot pair with this. This cannot pair with this. We know when Tosin and Badiashile is playing, you know the consequences, because the two defenders are very slow. So get to know who works with who in the defensive line, and of course go there with what you think is most strong and comfortable for you. And for Santos, I keep saying this. Look, I don't see any reason why Santos can bench Caicedo. No way. Now, look at the Leeds game. Santos was playing pivot with Caicedo, and that gives us 4 midfielders. Because you wanna make sure Santos is on the pitch, we've got to use 4 midfielders, because you can't afford to bench Enzo Fernandez, you can't afford to bench Cole Palmer. So now you've got to use Caicedo and Santos, and you've got to use Enzo Fernandez and Palmer. Now we don't have anyone on the other flank, which to me doesn't really make sense. We play all the season with the high flank. That's how we've been playing this season. But having 4 midfielders, to me, I feel like not really good enough. I feel like individual brilliancy won the game against Leeds for us. I mean, the goals that we scored was individual brilliancy from Joao Pedro. I'm telling you 100%, Liam Delap cannot get close to that goal. So, this is what I want to say. If you want to start Caicedo, start Caicedo. If you want to, start Santos, in your own opinion, maybe you like him, but don't pivot them. I don't see... The only game that I do believe that you can do sort of things like the Napoli game we play, we know when you're playing Italian games, you have to be, very, very physical and all. When you're going to a physical game, you can, do all sort of things. But just normal games where you need to attack more, you need more attackers in the second half than, trying to defend. Because to me, when you're using 2 central defenders, you're practically, because you've got 4 defenders in the back. And why are you using 2 central backs again? It's too much. Let Caicedo do his things, and let's have Enzo Fernandez, Palmer disturbing the other half. So that's my own opinion. There's a lot of games. And we always learned. Last season, Caicedo played 38 games. It's not possible this season. There's some games where you just need to, put him on the bench. Let Santos go there. If it's not working out, let Caicedo come in. But I don't really believe in pivoting 2 of them as a central defender.
Fair enough. Very good points over there. Finally, a little touch on Liam Rosenior. Obviously, he's come back to Hull City where his man is, and he's got strong family connections for them. You heard the home support, very much in joyous raptures for them, and credit to the Hull fans, they were singing throughout the game. How far and how well do you think Liam Rosenior can do, not only in just this competition, but just an overall in the remaining fixtures that we have left?
Look, to me, in my own opinion, Chelsea's job is not as hard as we all think. We've got so many qualities in that team. Any coach can easily come to Chelsea and win games because you've got qualities. They might not have that sort of experience, which might, affect some games. But you've got qualities. You've got good players, good potential players. I don't see Chelsea job as a hard job. And that's why you've seen 10 games now is, he's performing well. He's won maybe 6 out of 7 Premier League games, won 2 League Cups, 1 Champions League. Chelsea job is not as hard as we all think. But the problem is coming in the future. And that's what happened to Maresca, Liam is going to do well, but he's going to get to a point where he would see himself like, I've built up my CV. Now I need to manage Chelsea. And that's not going to happen. And he's going to go. So, at the end of the day, I'm seeing him being successful in Chelsea. I think this season, he might, be in Champions League. He might get to a point in Champions League for this season. He might go to Champions League next season. Maybe FA Cup, we might get to final, maybe win it. I'm still, very much confident. But after that, what's going to happen? Because as a coach, when you see yourself, I've won this, I've won that, and that's what happened to Maresca. Maresca has always been a very loyal coach to us, very, very understanding when he come in. But immediately he won the Conference League, he won the Club World Cup. He started looking at himself like, now I can become a manager because I've done this. And obviously when you look at the tactics in the final, PSG was absolutely amazing. He started looking at himself that now I need to become a manager. If I cannot manage this club, then I'm free to go because I've built a CV. I can get a job everywhere, and I'm confident he's probably gonna go to City at the end of the season. So that's what I fear for Liam. He's gonna do well, and what next? We can't keep him. That's what the system is building. They can't keep what they are doing. So Liam is gonna perform well. And at the end of the day, he's going to create a CV for himself. He wants to become a manager. Then they're not going to give him a chance. Then he's going to leave. Then we need to start looking for another manager, another upcoming manager to come and take up Chelsea. So that's how I feel about it.
You and me both. This is why I can't stand Clear Blue. I keep calling them Clear Blue. I keep joining them together. They genuinely get us pregnant. They just really, without being rude, they generally fuck us over from behind. They really
100%.
Honestly, like I said, I do miss our old owner, Roman Abramovich. None of us wanted him to go, but obviously we know why he had to go.
Yeah.
But I agree. I agree with you. I feel like our managers are not allowed to express themselves.
Yeah.
You've seen Enzo Maresca. As soon as he wanted a central defender after Levi Colwill got injured, he was told to get on with it. And then I think the game against Leeds, that second goal epitomises how crucial it was to get a central defender in who is experienced. Because someone, and I don't want to bash Achin because he's still young, he's still learning. He tried to separate a ball in which he was still getting harassed by, was it Bogle? I can't remember.
The Leeds.
The Leeds striker, yeah. So, obviously, he should have just cleared it. Yeah. But he's young, he's still learning. But what do you think about this ownership? And will they allow Liam Rosenior to express himself?
Oh, no, they won't. They won't as long as, these guys are still in Chelsea. No manager, no coach is going to manage Chelsea. We can't have a manager. We can only have a coach. No one is going to manage Chelsea. They're going to manage Chelsea and put someone there as a coach. That's just the illustration. You can't come here and manage anything. You can just be a coach. Then we manage everything. Then you do your own job. If you're not comfortable with the job anymore, they kick you out. So that's it. If not, I don't see anyone realistically will sack a manager or will let a manager go after winning Conference League and in this mysterious season that we had last season.
Exactly.
Different players, new players playing with each other. It's not realistic, to be honest. Everything we won last season is not realistic. If someone should have asked you in the start of the season that we will win Conference League, maybe. But the Club World Cup, invisible. But at the end of the day, this ownership, they're going to keep managing Chelsea. We can only have a coach, we can't have a manager.
Cassie, wonderful talking to you. Pleasure meeting you, brother.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Up the Blues and Bluesfantv.
Guys, don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel. Let's keep growing as a family. Thank you so much for your support. I will see you on to the next one.